In today's show, the Blazers win a game in a way you just might not ever see again. Welcome to a bonus episode of Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. Listen to another episode of Locked On Blazers, for the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube, coming at you each and every weekday. And also today, a very special Saturday edition, a bonus episode. That's right, a sixth podcast this week because the Blazers got a legitimately fun win. And I don't want it to get buried by a potential loss on Sunday night. I want to celebrate this one, enjoy this one, give you a little time to breathe in a show by itself, and then we'll talk about other stuff as the Blazers kick off a road trip Sunday against the Lakers in Los Angeles. We're going to recap a game against the Pacers. Blazers win this one. Just a really solid, entertaining, fun win by a Blazer team that was yet again and for always and forever shorthanded, even when welcoming Deandre Ayton back to the lineup. Anthony Simons doesn't play in this one. So we'll recap this game, talk about Jabari Walker, who entered the Ed Davis Hall of Fame class tonight, and a wild statistical profile in this game that we just might not ever see again. We might not ever see the Blazers or anyone win a game like this. This was a true rarity in the modern NBA. Let's do what we do, though. Fastest recap in the West, even on a bonus episode. You know how we do. Blazers win 118-115. They led from the jump. 34-31 after one. Jerami Grant had 10 in the opening quarter, 8. Malcolm Brogdon had 10. Scoot Henderson had another 8. He hit his first 4 shots. He was balling. He was playing really well. Then Scoot Henderson got hit in the nose, busted in the beak in the second quarter, and left and did not return. Eventually ruled out for the remainder of the game with a nasal contusion, but Chauncey Billups said he avoided a concussion after the game, so he should be back when he's, who knows what a nasal contusion really means? Is it a broken nose and they just don't know yet? Or is it a really badly bruised nose? But no concussion means that he is probably a pain tolerance thing, a type of when he'll be able to play again. Blazers lead 34-31 after one, and they held on to that lead at halftime, 64-53. Jerami Grant had 20 points in the first half. Malcolm Brogdon had 16. Blazers, because Anthony Simons missed this game, as I mentioned, should have led with this, but I apologize. I'm recording late at night. Anthony Simons misses this game with illness. He was listed questionable in the last game with an illness. Showed up in the injury report late. Played through it. Obviously, started to feel worse since Wednesday. Did not play in this one, so he's not at the arena. The Blazers start Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle, Jabari Walker, Jerami Grant, and Deandre Ayton. It's clear that Chauncey Billups is sticking and committing to this Scoot Henderson off the bench. He wants to keep him in that role, keep him comfortable in that role. Maybe it'll work better for him. I think there's this idea that he's so much better off the bench. He came off the bench Wednesday and he was freaking terrible. He came off the bench tonight and he was freaking great. So it's... I think it's more matchup and game to game for him, as opposed to he'll just naturally be magically better in a bench role. You don't have to go that far back to remember when he was magically not very good in a bench role. That was on Wednesday night. So, but because of Ant's injury and because of Ant's illness and because of other injuries like to Shane Sharp, who didn't play in this game, the Blazers start that sort of veteran group with Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle, Jerami Grant, and Deandre Ayton next to Jabari Walker, and then 7 rookies on the bench because they had all their two-way guys up. Justin Minaya and Ibubaji and Ryan Rupert were all on the active list. It was all rookies on that bench, along with Toumani Camara, Scoot Henderson, and Chris Murray. So super young group, and they leaned on the vets. And obviously Chauncey's trying to win the game. He's leaning on the vets. Kind of shorthanded. I don't know what else you're going to really do here. But because of Scoot Henderson's injury, Jerami Grant played a little bit of point guard in the third quarter. It went about as hell you'd expect. He got his pocket picked in the backcourt and gave up an 8-second violation. But otherwise, it was just kind of he got it across half court and they got into what they wanted to do. I thought Jerami was really good in this game. Blazers led by 11 at the break, 64-53. But the Pacers had an early run in the third quarter, tied this game at 71, and the Blazers responded, built back up another lead, led 88-81, end of 3, and they basically held on from there, led by 10 with 6 minutes left in the game, led by 10 with 6 minutes left in the game, led by 6 for most of the final 4 minutes. Pacers got as close as 3 when Miles Turner hit a three-pointer with under 20 seconds remaining, but Blazers hit a free throw. Jerami Grant hits a free throw because they're forced to intentionally foul. They get another stop. Jabari Walker hits a free throw, and that's just your ball game. Blazers hold on to win. Miles Turner hit a 2-pointer at the buzzer for the final margin, but Blazers hold on. 118-115. That's your fastest recap in the West. To the box score we go. Jerami Grant balling. 37 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, a steal, and 2 block shots. He played nearly 43 minutes in this one because it's kind of what the game called for. He hit 13 2-pointers. He's on a heater, taking 2-point field goals. He got to the free throw line, took 11 free throws. 2 of them were intentional, so he got to the free throw line in the run of play for 9 free throw attempts. Malcolm Brogdon, a season-high 30 to go with 7 boards and 6 assists, a block and a steal. He was really, really good and helped control the pace and just like gets to his spots. Like he does what he wants to do and he's really deliberate and gets those little stop spinning fadeaway jumpers, gets all the way to the rim if you let him, takes those sort of flat leaning jumping threes. He was like, or barely jumping threes rather. Like he was just good. Malcolm Brogdon was just straight up good in this. It was just really good in this game. He got to the free throw line, made all 10 of his free throw attempts. Scoot just played 8 minutes, 7 minutes and 52 seconds, 10 points, 2 boards, and an assist. He was on his way to having a nice game. He 4 of 4 from the field. First ever game where he hasn't missed a shot, except that he had to leave with a busted nose. Stinks. Deandre Ayton in his first game back. Ayton, returns to the lineup after he hadn't played since before Christmas with a knee injury. Comes back after a month plus an extra day with the ice thing that happened to him. He couldn't get out of his house because he was frozen in. And he finished with 12 points and 8 boards. He was 6 of 15 from the floor. Chauncey Billups said he looked rusty. I agree. Ayton said that he was just kind of, his wind wasn't a problem, like his conditioning wasn't a problem. It was mostly just his rhythm was not there. Real quick clarification. I mentioned in the previous episode that Deandre Ayton lives in the West Lynn area. I would like to say that it has come to my attention he does not live in the West Lynn area. I'm not going to tell you where he lives out of respect, but Locked On Blazers apologizes for the error. 12 points and 8 boards for Deandre Ayton. 4 points for Matisse Thybulle in his start, back on his streak, had a steal tonight. 4 off the bench for Toumani Camara. Chris Murray added 5 and 3 for Duop in his 17 minutes. And the big one, I've been saving him, Jabari Walker, 13 points, 12 boards, 3 assists. Blocked a shot, didn't give a single F. He was really fun in this. We'll talk about him more in a moment. On the Pacers side, 29 and 12 for Miles Turner, 21 for Pascal Siakam, making his Pacers debut. Comes over from the trade from the Raptors, has 21 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. Tyrese Halliburton, after not having played since January 8th with a hamstring injury, comes back after less than 2 weeks, finished with 21 points, 17 assists, and 0 turnovers. Dude's a maestro. I thought he looked like he was playing a little bit on one leg. It looked like he was kind of favoring that leg a little bit, and he had 21 and 17 with 0 turnovers. Imagine if this dude was healthy. He's really good. Aaron Nesmith, 12 points and 4 boards. Pacers just didn't get enough off the bench. 7 from Jalen Smith, 2 from Ben Mathurin, 2 from TJ McConnell, 3 from Ben Shepherd, and Obi Toppin went scoreless. Talk about in a moment the statistical oddity of this game. I want to celebrate Jabari Walker for a moment. How fun is this guy? I mean, this is first of all, before we get into Jabari Walker, actually. He's really fun. That's the answer to that rhetorical question. He's fun. He's easy to root for. But this was a legitimately good win. I think the Blazers have. I don't think they've really had one of these since beating the Nets in the way they did. Those were crucial wins that they needed, and they got them. But the Nets aren't a very good team. That's not a very good team. And I don't think the Blazers should be turning their nose up at any wins. And I don't mean to suggest that. But, it's when you beat kind of another team that's below 500, it's oh yeah, the Nets on the road. Whoof, Nets win and beat the Lakers tonight. So who knows? But those aren't wins that you really come away celebrating. Those wins the Blazers needed, and they got them, and they're enjoyable. And I don't mean to dismiss them. But this was a no bones good victory. Halliburton in the lineup, Pascal Siakam in the lineup. The Pacers are legitimately good. They did play on the night. They played the second night of a back-to-back. They played in Sacramento last night and won. But it's not. It's not really the second night of a back-to-back because Hallie didn't play in that game and Siakam didn't play that game. So it's 2 of your big guns were rested of sorts. Halliburton obviously coming off an injury, but legitimately just a good win, a legitimately good win. I think this is just like one to feel good about, which is why I'm recording a podcast right now, because it's one to feel good about. I want to talk about two things in the second segment. Jerami Grant was really, this is the night the vets were excellent. Jerami Grant was excellent. Malcolm Brogdon was excellent. That's the reason they won. Those dudes combined for 67. Jerami Grant just holds it down. He did everything for him. They ran a ton of pick and rolls with him as the ball handler because they were light on ball handling. They gave him a huge responsibility, huge ask on offense, and he delivered to the tune of 37 points. But the fun part about this game is two things. Two things legitimately like, okay, this is fun type of stuff with this game. One, Jabari Walker was just really, really solid. Like, he was just really, really solid in a way that it's easy to appreciate. And two, the box score is bizarre. Bizarre. The Blazers won a game in which they attempted 12 3-pointers and their opponent made 20. They attempted 12 and their opponent made 20, and they somehow won this game. Just a weird, fun night. We will talk about all of that in the second segment. Before we do that, I want to tell you about Grammarly. Grammarly is the service that makes writing easier for you. Like, whatever type of writing you want to do, they're there to support you from start to finish. For over 10 years, Grammarly has been powered by AI technology you can trust to help you across all the places where you need to write the most. So whether that's emails or whether that's a creative writing project, Grammarly can help you get started, they can help you in the middle, and then they can help you finish it off. So say you need to get started on writing. Grammarly has tools to help you get better prompts, help you get ideas, help you get things going and flowing. Say in the middle of it, you need like a literal grammar check. Well, that's exactly what Grammarly does. And say at the end, you just want to have it sort of polished and tightened and cleaned up. Well, hit another button. Grammarly's going to clean it all up for you. So whether you got a big presentation coming up at work, or you just need to get through a cajillion emails in your inbox, or whether you want to work on something creative for either a creative job you have or just for a little bit of creative writing on the side, why not use Grammarly? The best part about it is that it's free. Start being more productive at work and whenever you need to write. Go to Grammarly.com/podcast to download it for free today. That's Grammarly, GRAMMARLY.com/podcast. Check it out. All right, still a pass first point guard, still Mike Richmond, still listening to Locked On Blazers, a bonus episode after the Blazers beat the Pacers 118-115. So I teased this at the beginning, and we'll talk about this in a moment, but the Blazers won a game that has one of the weirdest box scores you're going to see in modern NBA basketball. Before we get to that, let's appreciate Jabari Walker and induct him into the special place he deserves to be. Jabari Walker tonight entered what I am calling the Ed Davis Hall of Fame. That is a role player that you can easily root for, a role player that will be beloved, and a role player, if he came back here, could easily run for a city council spot, especially in the expanded city council. He could represent your district if you want him to. Jabari Walker's just easy to root for. He's just easy to root for. Like, he didn't shoot well in this game, right? It was 4 of 11, missed both his 3-pointers, got to the free throw line late in the game and split a pair. And yet he was the most entertaining player on the court, probably, because his just like do stuff meter is so dang high. Like, he gets in the mix on rebounds. He's physical off the ball on defense. He's physical on the ball on defense. He tries to get into the passing lanes. I think he moves the ball well. He's not a great sort of like physical passer, like making like the actual like physical gift of throwing creative passes, but he sees the floor well, and he can he makes the reads well. The physical passing will come later. Like, he's got the skills to do that, and he just, at his size and his physicality, he just gets after it on the boards, keeps plays alive longer than they should, gets fouled fighting for rebounds, just has a people say a knack, but what he has is a willingness to attempt rebounds. Like, he has a feel for it, but then he's like, okay, I'm in the right spot, but I'm not a great leaper. I'm in the right spot, but I'm not like going to be like so much stronger than this dude, but I am going to use my physicality to make it tough. I am going to use my, smarts to be in the right position. And I am going to I'm going to go try it every time. And just the relentlessness to go try to rebound every time is just such a welcome little treat. I mean, he's fun. He enters the Ed Davis Hall of Fame. Just an absolute. He'll be inducted by Brian Grant and Joel Przybilla in his acceptance speech, and he'll be in there just on role players that are just so dang easy to root for. Jabari Walker, promoted the starting lineup over Toumani Camara, and absolutely isn't going anywhere. On a side note here, I think there's this obsession from Blazer fans about what position Jerami Grant plays. He plays forward. And I think what position, whether he's the power forward or the small forward, is just not important. What's important is the skill set that's next to him, and Jabari is a better fit because of the rebounding. Toumani Camara is bigger, physically larger, longer than Jabari Walker. If you're just he needs to play next to a bigger forward. It's just skill is so much more meaningful. Your skill set and your role is just so much more meaningful than the position. Basketball's not positionless. We like to say that it's not positionless at this stage. What it is it's more role specific than it's been, and it's less. Teams know that they need certain skill sets and they're willing to get it from different sized guys, but there's still positions for sure. And the best version of Jerami Grant isn't playing next to someone who can rebound. The problem is Jeremy's he's more power forwardy. Even if positions don't exist, he's more power forwardy because he's not super fleet of foot on defense. You wouldn't want him guarded with super fast wings, and he's not a great ball handler or playmaker. So you wouldn't want to put a true power forward next to him that doesn't have those skills. Another slow-footed, non-passing, kind of typical power forward skill set. That would be bad. That would be bad. Jabari Walker, good lateral quickness on defense to guard a variety of spots. He guarded Pascal Siakam a little bit, which is maybe makes him the 4. But they also had Jerami Grant guarding Tyrese Halliburton. Does that make Jerami Grant the point guard? So it's the real key is that Walker fits really nicely next to Jerami Grant and allows him to be the best version of himself because he makes up for Grant's weaknesses. So it doesn't matter what position he plays. What position he plays is best next to someone who can rebound, and Jabari Walker can rebound without adding the detriments, the other issues that might be an issue, the other problems that might be an issue, the other detriments that might be an issue with he's not slow and he has enough sort of playmaking movement chops to not be that traditional power forward type. Okay, enough on that. I just wanted to address it because I had a couple questions in the inbox, and the positions, they don't really matter. The skill sets do. Jabari Walker perfectly matches his skill set. Ed Davis Hall of Fame, welcome. Okay, here's what it is. This game, you might never see it again. You just might never see it again. The Blazers took 12 three-pointers. That's not nearly enough. They probably need to take 35 to be competitive in a game. And recently, when they've won games because they just make threes. They've won games they shot well. Oh, what'd they do? Oh, well, they shot 48% from three. That's how they beat it's how they won the other night, right? It's they made shots. It's key. It's how they've were competitive against the Suns and only lost by 11. They hit shots, and that's what it's been for him. It's just the sort of random variance of making threes, and they haven't won games where they haven't shot well, and it's kind of been frustrating because it's well, if they only win when the threes go in, what are they? They're a team that's 12-29. That's what they are. But this was a night where they not only didn't make any 4 of 12, they only took 12. Now, this is what the Pacers do. They're one of the best teams in the league at limiting three-point attempts, and one of the worst teams in the league at giving up points in the paint. It's what they say, okay, at no matter what, you're not going to get a 3 off, but because we're going to stay home, particularly really tight on the backside shooters and the shooters in the opposite corner, we are going to give up some points in the paint. And we don't have a ton of rim protection. They play small a bunch with Aaron Nesmith at power forward or big forward, as long as they're railing against positions. So they're going to give up points in the paint, and it's what they do. It's kind of it's what they're willing to give up on defense. Paint points versus threes because they're going to shoot them at the other end, and boy, did they ever. 20 of 47 from 3. 20 of 47 from 3. The Blazers took 12. The Pacers made 23s. That is a 16-point difference. Blazers 4 of 12. Pacers shoot They shoot 43% on 47 three-point attempts and lose. My goodness. So the Pacers were plus 48 from the three-point line. 16 more made threes, plus 48. Oh, no, that's a loss usually, and like a bad loss. Chauncey Billups says if you had told him that before the game, he would have thought they lost by 30. He probably would have thought that because his team's been losing by 30 a lot, but but you know, they didn't get blown out, and they didn't get blown out because they outscored the Pacers 66-26 in the paint. The Blazers had 40 paint points in the first half. They took 5 three-pointers in the first half and had 40 paint points. 40 of their 64 came in the paint. They just were relentless in attacking. And because they were relentless, Brogdon was relentless, Jerami Grant was relentless in their attacking. When Scoot was in, there's too bad Scoot got hurt. This would have been a great game for him because to sort of get right. He had he had a play where Ben Shepherd slipped on a little crossover that Scoot did, and he got all the way to the rim with a little scoop finish. Like he was scooting. Like he was on one to start the game in his opening shift, and this would have been a nice matchup for him to continue to exploit that, get to the rim without as much pressure, less just like get a rhythm. But JG and Brogdon were relentless in attacking, and the Blazers, because they continued to attack, they got to the free throw line, and there was 2 intentional fouls at the end of the game. So let's take off those 4. They took 31 free throws. So they're and they split those pairs. So they were 28 of 31 from the free throw line prior to the final 10 seconds. The Pacers were 17 of 25. So you're plus 40 in the paint, and you're plus 13, or you could call it plus 11 before the intentional fouls and made free throws. You're plus 51 from the paint and the free throw line, plus 51 from the paint and the free throw line. The other team's plus 48 from 3. That's your difference in your ball game. Blazers won this game by being aggressive. They won this game by not giving up a cajillion transition points to the Pacers. They didn't, that's where paint points come from a lot of teams is running, right? You run before the defense gets set. It's not necessarily half court stuff, but it's just a relentlessness to get early offense. And Chauncey Billups said he was really proud of the way his team defended in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock. He shared a stat with us after the game. 68% of the Blazers possessions they didn't allow a shot in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock, and that was he said he was really proud of their game plan discipline. Get back, defend, make them use more of the clock than they want to, and give yourselves a chance. You do that, you attack the paint relentlessly, and and Jerami Grant and Malcolm Brogdon have big nights, can have a chance. And they had a chance. They won this game in a statistical oddity. I don't know that you'll see a game this year where a team goes 4 of 12 from 3 and wins. I don't know if you'll see a game in the next 5 years where a team goes 4 of 12 from 3 and wins a basketball game. It's so few attempts. It's so few makes for the modern NBA. And when the other team takes freaking 47 and makes 20 of them, and you still find a way to win, that is a legitimately good game. It's what I said up front. Like, this was, I wanted to celebrate it. I thought Jabari Walker was super fun. Jerami Grant was really good. Malcolm Brogdon was really good. Deandre Ayton's back, and the Blazers get a good win against a quality team, and they did it in a weird way. How fun is that? Okay. What I usually do here is tell you to come back next week, but how about you come back just like in a couple days? Blazers play the Los Angeles Lakers Sunday night. It's a 7 p.m. tip-off at the Crypt in Los Angeles to kick off a little road trip. I will have you covered for that game, and then that show will also be, that's the game 42 of the season. We're into the second half of the season. We'll do a little mid-season check-in on that show. So come back. Lakers game, mid-season check-in. That's Monday's show. Got more fun stuff for you next week, including me live in person scouting the G League Ignite. So that's what we do 5 days a week and sometimes 6, wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.